at the peak of his career, who did not like that.
Is this just...
I'll say it was a hit. Where is the mastermind?
In my view, that is material evidence, critical evidence. Because, okay.
Ithi ke ngosenkantolo ngokubona kwayo ke ubufakazi lobu obukhethekile futhi ufakazi obuhambisanayo ngoba izopha izathu zakhe ukuthi kungani isho njalo.
Because it relates to living human beings, live human beings. It's not relating to a car or a bicycle. Zongu says he was together with accused 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there was also the other gentleman who's also Mkhaya, a colleague of theirs, who comes from Natal, I think, Makosonke, something like that, if I'm not mistaken. And also, he says, he was entertained by Kwabeni. At some stage, he says, accused number 4 came to request him to move his car, or somebody through the aegis of accused number 4 wanted Zongu to remove his car because somebody was intending to drive out of the hostel. He says he did that, and subsequently, he also met accused number 4. When the car was moved and everything was now speak and span, there was relaxation, and accused number 4 actually said this. My grandfather used to do the same. He's Zulu. Yabonga, thank you, thank you, thank you. And he says he gave him the key. That's how close he was. Thank you for removing the car for me, and here is your key. He also says,
hello, members of the Court of Public Opinion. I am your host, Mrs. Independent, aka I am not a lawyer. But today we witnessed an oral judgment, the first in Judge Ratha's court, the very first. We have never seen that. We know how meticulous he is, how thorough he is, and for him to deliver this one, it looks like it's an impromptu one. It was the first. I have never seen this in his court. I mean, what we have witnessed was not just a legal ruling, okay? It was a piece of judicial theater that has left us, including legal experts, raising our eyebrows. He was flexing today, you know. So, I mean, an oral judgment is not, it's not unusual or improper. I mean, in fact, what judge was just showing us, was flexing as Nigeza, a taste of 55 years that he always say, I have 55 years in this profession. So he was showing us that he has firm grasp of the facts and the law, you know, allowing, showing us that he can rule without writing and preparing a formal document, you know. So we were like, okay, we can deal with an oral judgment judge. Okay. Judgment judge. So it's not an issue here. However, the real issue is the content and the delivery, which I felt like he was unprepared. It was scattered, it was all over. He was paging through and through and through, and he was sipping and sipping from that cup, you know. First time I see him drinking like that, and he reminded me of Oma Umela. he reminded me of Maumela, but honestly, let's talk about the content and delivery of that oral judgment. It was all over. It was unprepared. It was unprofessional. It was, I don't know. It was, it was not like Judge Ratha. And I think, I mean, for a judgment, I mean, the purpose of a judgment is to provide clarity. But this one seemed to have created more confusion. It has created more confusion. I mean, if we judge ezokhohlwa amagama, he was forgetting the names, he was mixing facts and evidence, and it felt like he's giving a new evidence. And he was mentioning that the cell phones are connecting to the poles. He was not following the records, you know, and because I mean, I think he was supposed to be following, you know, giving us information based on the records. And then mention, just like Ubaloy did, and they will give you a paragraph, they will give you a page, and they will give you a sentence number or whatever. So they will do that. But yeah, what he presented today, it was utterly a disgrace, I must say. Okay. I mean, uzwile, like Zongu uthi, I mean, he called accused for to move a car, or accused for said Zongu said I must move his car, or I must move the car, or I moved the car. But we know that that is not Zongu's evidence. What he just uttered now, please assist by dropping your comments in the comment section and make it make sense. Or what was the judge trying to say? Okay, but again, let's continue to listen to his oral judgment.
And further, Zongu says, at some stage, because there was no alcohol, Jameson was finished. The guys were drinking like fish. They went to go and buy alcohol.
bathi futhi uZungu khona ke inkulumo owayikhuluma ukuthi ke utshwala kade buphelile laphana ngoba ke kade ke abafowethu bephuza njengeinhlanzi lapho ke beqeda ke Jameson yabo. Bathi uZungu wathi nabahamba nothenga khona ke utshwala noma kunesikhathi nahamba ngaso nothenga utshwala.
And they partook of that alcohol. And there's a piece of evidence. I don't think it's that important, but it is there. That accused number 4 bought some alcohol on that day of the 26th of June 2014, on the same day.
Bathi khona
Or not, because Zongu says, I drank bottle upside down. We went to go buy some more liquor. Accused number 4 was with us in that red car or white car. He concedes. He says, I'm not sure. It could have been red, it could have been white, but it's a small car. So unlike a witness who comes to court and says we were there in a Rover 4x4. He said we went there in a small car. When it was pointed out to him that actually that car is in one of the photos and it is red. Then he says, if it's so, it's possible. I did not particularly take care of the colors. At that time, the exigency was, we were just enjoying ourselves.
bathi khona
And Zongu also says, because he's a policeman, he had his service pistol in his possession and it was drinking spree. He had to safeguard it. He requested Gwabeni to safeguard it for him. And apparently he put it in his bedroom or in a cupboard. And then he also gave him over the keys of his car.
bathi futhi uZungu
And part of his evidence, Zongu, he says, at some stage, accused number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 they vanished. And he says he became aware that they vanished when they returned en masse. They vanished, all of them. And when they came back, they returned as a group which had vanished. So there's nothing controversial or startling about that.
bathi futhi uZungu ke lenebuya la kade niye khona.
And Zongu says, accused number 1, 2, 3, those were the initial persons who returned, walking together, and they got into Gwabeni's room.
bathi futhi
And he says, after some time, an appreciable time, accused number 4 and 5 followed, and they also went into Gwabeni's room.
wabuya
And what is peculiar and striking is that Zongu says all 5 of our friends, when they came back after having vanished for some time, he doesn't want to taper himself with time constraints, although we know that in this case, time was of the essence. He says they were obviously unsettled, shocked, breathing hard.
athi ke uZungu ngemuva kokuthi bonke
And what was also noticeable, one of the gentlemen, apparently he initially had a black t-shirt on. When he comes back, he has changed into a gray t-shirt, or vice versa. It's about the color. But the point is the t-shirt was changed. And Zongu, in his jovial manner, said, hey, it appears you've got a lot of this clothing. Can you spare some for me? As Zongu says, he said that when he noticed that one of the accused have changed into fresh clothing, different clothing.
athi futhi
Says when he noticed the unsettledness of the 5 accused, he realized that there could possibly be something on the wrong going on. And because he had left his firearm in Gwabeni's room, he stood up and followed these gentlemen into Gwabeni's room.
bathi uZungu futhi wathi ngemuva uthi aqapheka lapho ukuthi kade kungekho ke ukuhlaliseka lapho kini
He says when he got in, the lights went off. He surmises that it's possible somebody could have switched the lights off, but those lights were problematic. After some time, minute or so, the lights were on again.
athi ngesikhathi
At that stage, number 2, I think, was handing over a .38 to Gwabeni. And number 3 was handing over a 9mm firearm to Gwabeni. He saw that with his eyes, that's what he says.
bathi ngaso leso sikhathi ke leso ke umsola wesibili kade anika ke lapho koGwabeni ke sibhama athi u38 ke lapho ke bese ke umsola wesithathu anika ke lapho koGwabeni nakhe sibhama athi u9mm athi lokho ke awakubona ngaso lesikhathi lesiya.
And he says it surprised him and shocked him because he was aware that Gwabeni is being sought or is facing charges for having murdered a particular gentleman using a 9mm. Now, Zongu is perturbed. He says, you're still messing around with firearms. What are you doing with this firearm? Didn't you use it to kill Snooki, or we'll remember the name just now? Then Gwabeni says, no, this is not the one that killed Ratha or Snooki. The name is not important. This
bathi khona ke
It's not the one.
mangaliso mhlawumbe
That one I threw into the river or the dam, the one he used to kill a companion of theirs. He threw it away.
bathi na
So, members of the Court of Public Opinion, we are not surprised about the verdict, okay? About the final verdict, Section 174 being denied. We were expecting it in any way. I don't know if there's a person who can say they were not expecting, or they were expecting a very different verdict. I'm not sure if you follow this case. We were obviously expecting this, but what we are left with now, it's a bombshell. It's alarming. Okay, we have an oral judgment, and that is legally permissible in its format. There's no qualm about it. Okay, but what is deeply flawed in its substance and delivery. So the judge appeared to prejudge crucial evidence straight into matters not properly argued, like a cell phone, a runaway cell phone. That phone was never even investigated because, I mean, the defense didn't get a chance, to form a defense against that because it was never properly investigated, and even Kelly was not called in to as a witness because the phone was stolen from him, from her. And another thing is it was said that it was robbery gone wrong, but through the investigation it was found out to be a hit. This was said by Kininda. But now when judge brings in this runaway phone and saying it was clearly being robbed from Umama Kelly after being elbowed by accused that I cannot mention his name, what is he saying? What is he saying if he confirms that that phone was stolen, it was robbed, but it was never fully investigated? It just showed what it pinged, and and then he said it was deactivated here on a different direction, opposite direction of those people who were in the house when they were at the hospital. Now he confirms it because it was never confirmed. He confirms it that it was stolen. What is judge trying to tell us? He touches on things that he were not, according to me, he was not supposed to touch on because the case is not yet, the defense has not yet presented their case. Okay, so I don't know, but the perception of justice is as important as justice itself. When a judge who is meant to be the impartial arbiter appear to have already made up his mind on key issues, the entire process is called into question. The concern is no longer just about the specific ruling, but whether the accused can receive a fair trial going forward. And that truly is the most shocking part of it all. If he says Zungu's evidence is critical and sound, for me, that is a prejudgment. Zungu's evidence is critical and sound in material and time and facts. So it defeats me. But yeah, let me know what you think on the comment section below. I am going to give you another another video where I observed something of something that didn't make sense as well. So stay tuned for another video. Remember to like, subscribe, share, and comment and comment and comment. Until the next video, stay put. Bye.